Should you master your music with an automated mastering service or even the plugin like Ozone? Or should you use the service of a real mastering engineer? Let's find out. Hope you're doing good, my friend. Chris here from Mixdown Online. Now, this is a question that I've been receiving on a regular basis. What do you think about those online automated mastering services like LANDR, for example, BandLab, and so on? Or do you use a software like Ozone? Are these any good to master music? So those are the type of questions that I receive often. On my side, to be honest, I do not work with automated mastering services, but I actually found them pretty interesting. So that's why I decided to make this video, to try them out myself, compare them with an actual master that I did on my side, to see how, those will sound like compared to my actual mastering. So it's going to be quite interesting. And we're also going to look at the advantages of working with an automated mastering service or plugin, and also all the advantages we get when working with an actual mastering engineer. So let's jump on the computer and check this out. So let's jump right on BandLab, the free website. It's a free service where you can have their artificial intelligence master your mix. So it's very simple. You just load your mix by clicking on Master New Track. So we're going to have a listen, and also we're going to have the option to choose between 4 different settings. Universal, which is a more neutral, dynamic, and total balancing. We have Fire, which is going to be punchier in the lows, and mid-range clarity. We have a clarity that is a pristine highs and light dynamic expansion, and then tape for warm saturation with analog dynamics. So let's start with the universal one. And now, the true love begins. This will be the last time that we have to say. That's the Fire. Even though my heart breaks. Clarity. And tape. I'm going to go back to universal. Okay, so I think for this one, universal is going to work well. It's the one that sounds more like the song itself, like the mix that I worked on. So I'm going to keep it to universal. You can also switch between the original and the mastered version. So let's have a listen. Okay, so now there's a drop in volume. That's normal because the mastered, like the mixed version, is not as loud as the mastered version. It would be cool though to have a match volume option, to compare the tone and what the actual mastering does as far as the tone and the dynamics goes. All right, so once you're ready, you click on download, and it's going to ask you to register and create yourself a free account, and you're going to have access to a master, which I have straight in CUBASE. So I have the mastered version from BandLab loaded into my CUBASE session on top of my master, the one I mastered myself, and also Ozone, which I'm going to get to right after. Next, let's go and check out LANDR. Now, just so you know, this is not a sponsored video, so there's no money exchange between myself and those websites. But I have to point out that LANDR gave me a free account for me to be able to test their mastering service. And this is what I did. So I have my mix loaded, and let's go and click on Master. And it's going to bring me that window. So I have several options here that I can choose from. I'm going to click on the play. That is going to play a part of my mix, and I can go from warm, balance, and open. Okay, I'm going to leave that at balance. I think, to test it out, it's a good way to go. Let's go with a medium loudness, I guess, or high. I'm going to stick to medium for the loudness because I kind of hear a bit more pumping going on. I'm starting to hear that pumping compression effect going on when the setting is set up at high. Okay, so I'm going to keep that one to medium. And we'll see how that goes. Now, something else you can do, you can add and load your a reference, a master reference that you want to base yourself on. I'm pretty sure this is going to mainly guide the AI of LANDR as far as the loudness goes, and maybe the tone also. I did not experiment with this option, but it's there if you need to. So I'm going to keep that to LANDR. Something else that is cool, we can volume match on this one. So if we want to compare a before and after without the loudness influencing our listening experience, we can do so. So I'm going to keep it this way. I think that's good enough for now. I'm going to click on Create Master. And then I'm going to have the choice between WAV, MP3, or HD WAV. So I'm going to keep that to WAV and click on Continue. And then LANDR will take its time to do the whole mastering process. Okay, now my master is ready to download, and let's say I'm not happy with the results. What I can do is I can ask for one revision. Okay, so I have access to one master revision. So if my song sounded too loud, I can say, it sounded too loud. How is the EQ intensity? Is it too low, good, or too high? And what about the EQ adjustment? And then you have a bunch of questions they ask you, and it's going to help the AI of LANDR to come up with a new version that will fit more your needs, basically. Okay, so now I have the LANDR master, the Bandlab master, and my original master. And I also have Ozone. Now, Ozone is an isotope plugin that is a mastering suite, and they have the Master Assistant, which is very, very cool. So let's try this one out, the Master Assistant. Now I have the option between the modules modern or vintage. And then for loudness, I can go medium, high, or low. I'm going to keep this one to high this time. And I can also load a reference track if I want to, okay, to compare the loudness with. And then I have the destination, which is going to be between streaming and CD. So I'm going to keep that to streaming, click on next, and then it's going to wait for me to play the audio, which I'm going to do right now. Get to it now. We knew it was coming, just didn't know when. Stay strong. Okay, so this is what I'm getting. I have an EQ at first. I have the compressor that is bypassed, but I have some dynamic EQ going on and a limiter at the end. And this is what I'm getting. So let's compare all of these masters together. So I'm first going to go with my master, so you have a good idea of what I ended up with. But you took your last breath on earth, and now your true life began. This will be the last time that we have to say goodbye. Okay, cool. It's a loud master. Some might say it's not that loud, but I think it goes up to minus 8.6 LUFS. So in my book, it's, it leans more towards a loud master than a quiet one. But it sounds good. So I don't mind if it's loud as far as it sounds good. Let's listen to the Ozone version now. Okay, cool. I'm going to compare it to my original one. And now your true life begins. This will be the last time that we have to say goodbye. It is more quiet. And as far as the tone goes, there's something in the mid-range that I would actually work on. If it was me mastering this song for the Ozone version. But it did give me a very good start point, and this is what I like about this plugin. From that point on, I can, customize whatever I want or just add to what was suggested. So this is cool. So it's actually can be a good learning tool also. So you get, to a certain point with Ozone, with the Master Assistant, and then you can add to this to get the desired results. And if I want to, I can actually bring it louder, which I'm going to do right now. Okay. So on this song, that could be a good starting point. So that is the Ozone plugin from Isotope. Okay, let's listen to Bandlab.
Your last breath on earth and now your true life begins. This will be the last time that we have to say goodbye. Even though my heart breaks and I'll miss you here in this life.
Okay, it's quieter, okay, but even if it's quieter, I can sense and I can actually hear the pumping compression effect going on. Yeah, I'm not a big fan, okay? So this is what I get with Bandlab. Let's do it again. I'm actually going to try to level match my master. I'm going to bring my master down to level match it with Bandlab.
Your last breath on earth and now your true life begins. This will be the last time that we have to say goodbye. Even though my heart breaks and I'll miss you here in this life, but I'm gonna hold on.
So I can hear that, the compression is pumping. It has the kind of a scoop type of EQ going on. There's the low end is a bit messy and there's sparkling, kind of not too smooth top end going on there. So, but again, it's a free service. That might work on certain songs. On this one, not the best. Let's go and listen to LANDR.
Your last breath on earth and now your true life begins. This will be the last time that we have to say goodbye. Even though my heart breaks and I'll miss you here in this life, but I'm gonna hold on, stay strong while time passes by, 'cause I know I'll see you.
Okay, LANDR sounded a bit darker, okay, compared to my master. And also I can hear just a bit of compression pumping on this master. But it's close. Honestly, it does a good job. I think it was able to handle loudness better than Bandlab. So it has something good going on with the AI of LANDR. What I would do in this case, I would probably go for a revision and make it just a bit quieter. So this way the compression would probably work better on this song and sound better in the end. Again, not a bad master.
Be the last time that we have to say goodbye.
That is the main difference we have between these masters. So let me know what you think in the comment section below, which one you like the most. Now, the advantages on working with services like LANDR and Bandlab is price. The pricing is very low as far as LANDR goes, and it's totally free as far as Bandlab goes. Now, as you can tell with this mix, you get what you pay for. So free version is going to give you an okay result, but not compared to LANDR, which is a paid service. So I expect to get better results if I pay for it. And LANDR has been around for a while, and they've been improving their AI for their mastering, and you can tell. So it works very well. So if you're low in cash, that could be a good alternative. Also, if you're on a rush, to get a song mastered and released right away, you can use a service like LANDR or Bandlab to do so. It's going to get there very fast. Like you saw, it didn't take me more than a minute and a half to have one song mastered. That can be an important factor for some. Okay, so that is an advantage. And I think with a service like LANDR, you can master your song and then send it directly to the major online streaming services, which is quite cool. Now, the advantages on working with a mastering engineer, and this is my preferred choice as far as I'm concerned. Okay, first of all, communication. Okay, the feedback you'll get with a mastering engineer, you're not going to get with a service like LANDR or Bandlab or other services, because there's way more. But if you have a good communication going on with your mastering engineer, is going to be to your advantage. Okay, so if something goes wrong with your mix, your mastering engineer will be able to give you a mix feedback. And this is good to point out because your mastering engineer is far away from the production and the mix, so he gets a complete, neutral, and fresh perspective on the mix he's going to master. So that's why it's going to be easier for him to point out if there's something wrong with the mix that can be worked in the mixing stage. And then it's going to be able to master your song to bring the song to the next level. And also, mix revisions with a mastering engineer is going to work very well. It's going to be easier and more flexible than an online service. Even if LANDR has a cool revision option, it's nothing to compare to an actual mastering engineer. And that's normal because we're dealing with an actual human being. So there's some stuff that AI is going to have a hard time to compete with when it comes to communication for mastering. So this is a huge point in favor of working with a mastering engineer. Also, if you have like a full album or EP to master, the transitions between all those songs together are going to be easier to work with a mastering engineer. The crossfades between the songs, the spacing between each songs on the same project, and also the general tone of the album within each of the different songs we have on that album. So by working with a mastering engineer, he will see like the full picture of the whole album. It's going to be easier to just make everything a bit more coherent together compared to an online service that is going to work better on a single songs, single mixes to master opposed to a full album. However, I have to point out that LANDR, again, they have an option, for an EP and a master that is supposed to take, all those aspects into consideration. Now, I did not try that option yet, but it's there if you want to. But again, I do favor to work with a mastering engineer for that matter. Now, pricing is going to be more expensive with a mastering engineer. That's normal. So if money is the thing, going towards an online service like LANDR is a good option. And the advantages on mastering your mixes yourself is pricing. It's going to be free, It's going to take you the time to learn about mastering though, okay? So this is something you need to put into consideration. And also a minimum of investment as far as your room goes. To master music, it is highly recommended to master your music in a tight room, as far as the acoustic goes, and a very good pair of studio monitors, okay, that is going to give you a good picture of what you are mastering. Don't forget that the master is the last stage of music production. Okay, so this is where everything needs to be, as perfect as possible. Okay, so if you do mastering on your side, that is an advantage. Okay, you're going to save on time also. Okay, the turnout time is going to be way faster because you're the one deciding on the schedule and when to have the master ready. But on the other hand, you're close to your mix because you definitely mixed the song before getting mastered. So a small tip here, if you master your own music, make sure you take a huge break just between the mixing stage and the mastering stage. On my side, I can take like a week and even more before starting a master on a song that I mixed. Okay, so I can get a fresh perspective, which is something that we get with a mastering engineer, a fresh perspective. So that is a way to get that on your own if you do master your own music. So is automated mastering any good? Yes and no, it's up to you. So depending on your situation, automated mastering can work very well, and you can get very good results also with it. And a master assistant like Ozone can also work very well as a good starting point to get to a good master. And if you have the budget, I highly recommend you to use the service of a mastering engineer. So there you go. This is my take on automated mastering services versus working with an actual mastering engineer. So let me know what you think and what do you do on your side. Do you work with the mastering engineer to master your mixes, or do you master yourself, or you work with an automated plugin like Ozone or an automated mastering service like LANDR? Let me know down in the comment section below. And don't forget to share, like, and subscribe to this channel if you're new here. And don't forget that I'm going to leave all the links of the software and also the services I talked about in this video down below. Until next time, my friend, take care and see you.